Chapter 81. The bell strikes to create a new record. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Early the next morning, he was feeling mentally refreshed. He summoned 4 random skeleton warriors to bring his total up to 120. After a quick wash, he teleported straight from his dorm to the dungeon hall. The dungeon hall was as bustling as ever. Tons of pros had their stalls set up, looking for groups. There were regular academy students and a lot from Hakka Academy. Both were part of Xia Jing Academy. But there was definitely a divide. Most of the regular students got in through the big entrance exam. Hakka Academy's student body was more of a mixed bag. Some trained internally. These students came from good families, had great bloodlines, and had been spoiled with resources since they were kids, so, at the same age, they were way ahead of the regular students in terms of level. While others were taking the big exam, they were already past level 20, or even higher. They were proud. And some looked down on the regular students, like Ling Zhen, who even sneered at a national champ like Lin Moyu. Historically, even the national and provincial 667 champions from Xiajing Academy were playing catch-up when they first arrived. They'd started late, their levels were lower, their knowledge was weaker, and their gear and skills weren't as good. The only thing they had going for them was their class. This gap wouldn't start to close for 2 or 3 years. Once they leveled up and gained more knowledge, some of these top-tier folks would eventually join Hakka Academy, while the rest would remain regular students. The academy system separated the geniuses from the average students. Lin Moyu got it pretty quickly and didn't sweat it. It wasn't going to slow down his leveling. Besides, he wasn't looking to team up anyway. He preferred to go solo. Entering the dungeon hall, Lin Moyu headed straight for the spider lair dungeon entrance. The cooldown had just finished, saving him 40 points. He selected Nightmare difficulty and went in. The skeleton warriors marched forward, same old routes, same old caves. The map's unchanged, just like last time. It's a fixed map. In that case, a speed run is totally doable. Should only take about 20 minutes. Lin Moyu did the math in his head, figuring he had a good handle on it, but this time, he didn't go for a full-on speed run. He optimized his route. He skipped the far-flung areas and focused on the closer caves, ordering his skeleton warriors to aggro all the spiders inside. That way, he could still rake in most of the XP while saving a ton of time. Efficiency was the name of the game. He figured this could almost double his clearing speed. He should be able to clear the whole dungeon in, at most, 50 minutes and still snag around 70% of the XP. Major improvement. This was his plan from last night, so it should all go off without a hitch. Lin Moyu trailed the skeleton team, with skeletons steadily dragging back hordes of spiders. Explosions echoed throughout the spider's nest. His XP bar kept climbing. He was already glowing with an impending level up halfway through. He'd factored this in, so he'd burned 80% of his mental power during his meditation to summon those 4 extra skeleton warriors. He knew he'd level up mid-run. After leveling up, his mental power was back to full. Lin Moyu didn't summon any more skeletons, saving his mental energy for the final boss. Yesterday, the Spider King's skills had roughed up his skeletons a bit. He wasn't going to let that happen again. The upgraded skeletons were stronger, their stats now at 6200. Their attack power had gotten a serious boost. Combined with Lin Moyu's corpse explosion, they bulldozed their way through. In just 40 minutes, the team had reached the end of the dungeon. The skeleton warriors quickly sliced open the spiderweb blocking the way, revealing the passage beyond. Just past the passage was the Spider King's lair. Lin Moyu didn't rush in. He hung back in a nearby cave. Click, 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 the sound grew louder and louder. Besides the skeletons, there was also the skittering of insects. A few skeleton warriors charged ahead, followed by thousands of little spiders. They swarmed into the passage, heading straight for the Spider King. If I can lure those little spiders close enough to the Spider King, then Lin Moyu could just nuke the whole place with corpse explosion and probably one-shot the Spider King. Great idea, but it flopped. The little spiders seemed to be scared of the Spider King's aura. They stopped at the entrance of the passage and refused to go any further. Seeing this, Lin Moyu knew his plan had failed. At least in the Spider Den dungeon, the soul flames flashed, followed by a series of violent explosions. The small spiders at the door were wiped out. Lin Moyu went through and summoned all the skeleton warriors. The 120 skeleton warriors, with their 6,200 stats, charged toward the Spider King, swords raised. If the Spider King had any sense, he'd be running scared. The Spider King spat out a web. Skill, Soul Flame. Skill, Slow Curse. The two skills were unleashed one after the other, and the Spider King let out a terrifying scream. This time, Lin Moyu didn't even give the Spider King a chance to spit out another web. The skeleton warriors didn't dogpile him, they focused on his legs, 15 skeletons targeting each leg, perfectly balanced. The red light on their broadswords flickered. Skill, Frenzied Strike. The Spider King shrieked as the armor on his legs was hacked off, exposing the flesh underneath. Lin Moyu's soul flames never let up. The onslaught of attacks kept the Spider King from using his skills. The Spider King's mental defenses weren't strong, so the soul flame was super effective. So far, Lin Moyu hadn't met a monster that could resist the soul flame. That kind of attack on the mental level ignored physical defenses and was tough to fight. The skeletons swarmed the spider's legs, attacking in unison. Their target points were almost identical. Finally, with a crash, the Spider King's legs were severed, and his massive body crashed to the ground. He didn't stand a chance. It was way easier than last time, he screamed, feeling the vibrations as countless little spiders crawled out from everywhere. Let's speed this up. Once all the little spiders were out, the explosions began. Corpse explosion was definitely a god-tier skill. The Spider King was dead in under 2 minutes. His whole body was a mess. Though the little spiders weren't tough individually, there were just so many of them. Lin Moyu used up almost half his mental power to take down the Spider King in record time. Maybe that was a bit wasteful. Lin Moyu realized he might have overdone it, burning that much mental power for just 1 minute faster. He could have summoned a couple more skeletons. After all, he was only running 120 skeletons right now, and his summoning space had 190 open slots. With 70 more he could fill himself. Back in the dungeon hall, the bell rang. People outside rushed in. Record-breaking always attracts a crowd. Another record broken. Who's the hotshot this time? Wonder what dungeon they cleared. Hundreds of people piled into the hall, heading straight for the glowing leaderboard. It's the Spider Lair. Level 20 dungeon, huh? Could it be that kid from yesterday? No way, but I did see him heading in here this morning. A new record popped up. The previous first place was bumped down a slot as the new record took the top spot. Lin Moyu, level 19, Necromancer, 47 minutes and 22 seconds. Wow! It really is him. Just set a new record in a mutated forest yesterday, and now he's crushed the Spider Lair record. And he's soloing. That's insane. How's he doing it? Is the Necromancer class really that strong? Nah, I'm betting he's got some kind of talent, too. Gasp. Everyone sucked in a breath. Talented classes were rare and powerful. There might only be a handful of talented professionals in the whole country each year. Talented professional my ass, he just got lucky. A jealous voice cut through the crowd. Everyone turned to look, hundreds of eyes locked onto Ling Zhen. Chapter 82, This Look, He Really Killed People. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Ling Zhen was clearly uncomfortable with so many eyes on him. Hey, kid, what makes you say that? Someone called out. Breaking records is tough, especially dungeon records. That's even harder. So, why is everyone just chalking up Lin Moyu's success to luck? Ling Zhen scoffed. He's just a regular student fresh out of exams. Word is, he got some super powerful treasure thanks to his connection with Baishan. How else could one person conquer a nightmare dungeon? Immediately, someone shot back. What's wrong with being a regular student? Regular students can't break records. Exactly. You're saying Lin Moyu only set the record because of some gift from Master Baishan? Got any proof? Hold on, I know you. You're Ling Zhen from Qianlong Academy. No wonder you're looking down your nose at us regular students. Qianlong Academy, big deal. You guys just got a head start, but who knows who'll be on top later. Ling Zhen's words stirred up a hornet's nest. There was always a bit of tension between regular students and those from the academies. but it was unspoken. Ling Zhen just ripped off the band-aid. His words were like throwing a rock into a calm lake, and the regular students exploded. These were the guys good enough to get noticed by the Academic Affairs Office and earn their way into the dungeon hall. They were all top-notch. Most of them were pros who killed it on the big exam, and their classes were solid. Sure, maybe they didn't start with the same advantages as the academy kids, but they were closing that gap, and some would even surpass them. So, in their eyes, these academy trainees weren't all that. The academy types naturally sided with Ling Zhen, thinking he was probably right. Suddenly, a full-blown shouting match erupted. They were slinging insults back and forth, ready to throw down any second. Then, in a flash of light, Lin Moyu materialized in front of the dungeon. The noise hit him like a wall. He was totally lost, didn't have a clue what was going on. Someone grabbed Lin Moyu's arm. "Hey, Lin Moyu, you just took the big exam this year, right?" Lin Moyu nodded, a little dazed. "What was your score?" "Number 1 in the country," Lin Moyu replied honestly. Everyone went silent. Turns out he was the valedictorian. Especially the academy students. They might look down on regular students, but a national champion was different. Even if they were ahead now, in a few years, most of these champs would catch up, maybe even leave them in the dust. No valedictorian was a pushover. Their class had to be strong, their skills on point. They just didn't get the same resources and got a slightly later start. Ling Zhen sneered, "So what if you're the national champ? You can't even compare to us. The big exam isn't that hard to ace anyway." Someone shot back, "That's easy for you to say. If you grew up off campus and changed classes a week before the exam, you wouldn't be so confident about winning." A lot of people agreed with that. Even some of the academy kids had to admit it was true. That's just how it was. Lin Moyu finally pieced together what was happening. Ling Zhen was looking for trouble again. Lin Moyu glared at Ling Zhen, his eyes blazing. "I told you, mess with me again, and you're dead." Lin Zhen flinched at Lin Moyu's stare. "You think I'm scared of you? What are you gonna do?" Lin Moyu just stared him down, a silent warning. If they were out in the wild, Lin Moyu would have already made his move. Someone noticed Lin Moyu's expression and couldn't help but shudder. Lin Moyu ignored him, turned, and went back into the spider's lair dungeon. Someone patted his chest. "Man, that look could kill. And not just once or twice. Don't be so dramatic. He's just a rookie. How could he have killed anyone? You think the outside world is all sunshine and rainbows? You grew up safe in the academy, but out there, it's a jungle. I'm telling you, he's killed people, and plenty of them. The way he looks at you, like you're just another monster in a dungeon, not even human. Yeah, that look, it's terrifying." Even Ling Zhen was rattled. Lin Moyu's eyes had really gotten to him. It was like Lin Moyu didn't see him as a person, just a monster waiting to be put down. He thought of Lin Moyu's insanely strong skeleton, and he was truly scared. His legs were shaking. He was scared but didn't want to lose face. Ling Zhen stood his ground. "Humph, just wait till I catch you in the wild. I'll take you down." With that, Ling Zhen teleported out. As soon as he was gone, the dungeon hall erupted in laughter. "Haha, he's scared stiff. You could tell he was all talk and no bite at the end. What a wimp. And he's supposed to be a genius academy student. What a joke." The academy kids were mortified, and no one bothered to defend him. They already hated Ling Zhen for making them look bad. They added Ling Zhen to their mental blacklist. They would never group up with him in a dungeon again. They turned to leave the dungeon hall to find teammates when the bell rang again. What is happening? Another new record? It has to be Lin Moyu. The same thing happened yesterday when he was clearing the mutant forest dungeon. Yeah, I was there. Set a new record on the first run, then beat his own record on the second. I've never heard of any treasure or props that let someone solo nightmare dungeons, and set records like that. The people who had just left the dungeon palace came back again. When they saw the results on the light curtain, their eyes were wider than their mouths. Lin Moyu, level 19, Necromancer, 22 minutes and 51 seconds. This record was beyond amazing. It was terrifying. Everyone felt a chill run down their spines. he cleared a nightmare dungeon solo in just 22 minutes and 51 seconds. No one could even imagine how, but he did. The proof was right there. Maybe the dungeon hall's glitching. Don't be ridiculous. Even if you're brain dead, the dungeon hall wouldn't have problems. You know how long the dungeon hall has been around. It's never glitched. Then how did he do it? Go ask him. No way, his eyes are too creepy. Just then, Lin Moyu reappeared outside the dungeon. A second later, he was back inside. Lin Moyu checked his experience, level 19, 74%, just 26% left to level up. He hadn't bothered killing many small spiders during his speedrun, so he didn't get much experience. One more run and I can level up. Breaking the record again earned him another 1,000 points and 5 contribution points. The spider's nest echoed with the sounds of battle. Lin Moyu and his skeleton warriors charged forward. By the time they reached the boss's door, a white light enveloped Lin Moyu. He leveled up, finally, level 20. Lin Moyu took a deep breath. Probably not many people could level up as fast as him. After all, he could solo nightmare dungeons with an efficiency that was off the charts, but the fact that he needed to be level 30 to join the Creation Theological Academy made him feel like he was falling behind. The leveling speed would definitely slow down again after level 20, he had no idea how much it would slow down. He'd have to play to find out. Based on what happened at level 10, his skills might change again, especially his talent and the 2 skills that summon skeleton warriors. He wondered what would happen. Lin Moyu was excited. He checked his stats. Name, Lin Moyu. Class, Necromancer. Unique. Level, 20, 1%. Strength, 300. Agility, 300. Spirit, 1300. Plus 20. Stamina, 300. Plus 20. Equipment, Goblin King's Magic Book, Robe of Knowledge. Summoning Space, 120/200. Skeleton Warrior, Quantity, 120. Talent, Comprehensive Amplification, Level 3, Unique. Passive Skill, Damage Transfer. Active Skills, Soul Flame, Level 20. Summon Skeleton Warrior, Level 20. Corpse Explosion, Level 2. Slow Curse, Level 1. Comprehensive Amplification, Level 3. All skill effects are increased by 30 times. Damage Transfer, all damage taken by the caster is transferred to the summoned creatures. Soul Flame, Level 20 burns the target's soul, causing damage over time. Damage depends on spirit and skill level. Summon Skeleton Warrior, Level 20 summons a silver rank skeleton warrior. Corpse Explosion, Level 2 detonates a corpse, dealing damage equal to 15% of its HP to enemies within 2 meters. Slow Curse, Level 1 curses enemies within 5 meters, reducing their speed by 5% for 1 minute. Even though he expected it, Lin Moyu was still shocked by the changes. Chapter 83, The Boss Who Was Almost Instantly Killed. You are listening at novelfull.audio. God level talent, a total game changer. This is my most important ability, hands down. It's a powerhouse. My overall talent boost is now at level 3, the multiplier has jumped from 20x to 30x, that's a serious upgrade, and the Soul Flame's power. Forget about it, this skill already packed a punch for single targets. Now, with a 30x boost, the attack is gonna be insane. It's gonna be epic for interrupting boss skills. And then there's Corpse Burst, which is also clutch. Corpse Burst is still level 2, but the range is up to 60 meters with the boost. 60 meters is a pretty good chunk of real estate. The damage is 450% of the corpse's vitality, that's like 4.5 times the damage if you set off a chain reaction with similar monsters. Whoa. Look out. The Slow Curse skill got a boost too, with a range of 150 meters and a 150% slowdown. The duration is a solid 30 minutes. Finally, I checked out the Skeleton Warrior stats. At level 20, the Skeleton Warrior leveled up from bronze to silver. The stats must have gotten a major bump at level 19. The Skeleton Warrior's combined stats were 6200 after the boost. The real attribute was 310, which is okay. Not amazing, but not terrible, just like your average wild monster. But the Skeleton Warriors are all about quantity. Even without the talent boost, they can still grind out in the wild. Dozens of them mobbing a single enemy makes easy work of it, even if they're moving a bit slow. But now, a silver-white skeleton warrior stood before me, taller than the bronze level. It shimmered with a silvery white sheen, the bones looked smooth, instead of rough. The broadsword it carried was razor-sharp, a well-crafted piece of equipment, and no longer looked like a piece of junk. The whole thing was screaming, "I'm stronger now." Silver rank skeleton warrior. Strength, 12,000. Agility, 12,000. Intelligence, 12,000. Endurance, 12,000. Skill, Frenzied Strike, Level 2. Frenzied Strike, Level 2 deals 300% damage to the target. Cooldown, 10 minutes. When I saw those numbers, my jaw dropped. I just keep blowing my own mind. Combined for D stats of 12,000, more than 5 figures. The base attribute is 400, which isn't mind-blowing, but it's my talent that takes it over the top. Silver rank skeleton warrior, how much energy does it take to summon one now? That I had to ask myself that. Level up, stats get better, but what about the cost? I tried to summon one, my mental energy plummeted. The mental energy of 1320 dropped to 820, I couldn't help but raise an eyebrow. It takes 500 mental energy. That's a lot. Looks like I need to find some gear to boost my mental power, that I can only summon 2 at a time, and the summoning space is full. I don't know how long I have to wait to summon more than that. At level 20, I can wear silver equipment. I decided to hit up the exchange and see if I can find some suitable silver gear. I also need to snag some basic skill scrolls. At level 20, I gotta draw a new wave of skills. The silver rank skeleton warrior sliced through the spiderwebs, no problem. Then he charged in, facing the incoming skeleton warriors. The Spider King was ready for a fight. I hung back this time. I wanted to see just how strong the silver rank skeleton warrior really was. Skill, Spit Net. A massive net rained down from above. I thought the skeleton warrior was toast again, but, unexpectedly, the warriors leaped up, swinging their broadswords. The spiderweb shattered with a light snick. The skeleton warrior charged through the webbing and kept heading straight for the Spider King. They're more agile now. They actually seem smart. Combat history has been awakened, that I could feel a sense of purpose coming from the silver-ranked skeleton warrior. It adapts to the situation, instead of just hacking away like before. If that's the case, what about gold level and platinum level skeleton fighters? Will they be like a real fighter, like a trained professional? The Spider King kept spitting webs, but the skeleton warrior easily swatted them away. Now that the skeleton warrior has reached the silver level, things have changed. The stats are way better, and so is the combat awareness. In a blink, the skeleton warriors were at the Spider King's feet. Some of the warriors' silver-white blades started to glow red, and they went straight for the Spider King's legs. Skill, Crazy Strike. 12,000 strength plus 300% attack bonus. This skill is berserk, pure and simple. Red light filled the cave. The Spider King's legs got chopped off like vegetables. It shrieked and hit the ground. The rest of the skeleton warriors activated their skills. Their swords crashed down on the Spider King. Killed the Spider King. Experience plus 190,000. Obtained a silver level weapon. The Spider Staff. Obtained a low-level monster crystal nucleus. Spider Dagger, silver rank, spirit plus 40, constitution plus 40, mage skill power increase by 8%, available after level 20. I froze when I saw the notifications. That's it. The skeleton warriors unleashed a single round of skills that lasted less than 10 seconds. The mighty dungeon boss just goes down like that. The Spider King, with a 4-dimensional stat of 12,000, couldn't even call in his backup. That was fast. I checked my experience, and I was speechless. I got 190,000 experience, and my bar only went up by 0.2%. Leveling up after 20 is gonna be a serious grind. Typically, level 20 to level 30. If you're fast, maybe a year, but more likely 2 or 3. Take 5 levels as a stage, and it'll get even slower after level 25. It's no wonder that Chuangshan Academy wants you at level 30. Anyone who can hit level 30 that fast is a force to be reckoned with. And people like my sister, who can get into Creation Theological Academy in just a few months, are a rare breed. I left the dungeon hall and used the teleportation stone to head back to the dorm. I left my dorm and went straight to the exchange. The Imperial Exchange and the Academy Exchange were right next to each other. The architecture was a little different, but the style was generally the same, connected together. The students called it the Transaction Center. I started at the Academy Exchange. It had tons of items for sale, and everything cost points. Unlike the Imperial Exchange, there's no recycling function. You can consign items, but you can't sell directly to the exchange. I found a few tasks, mostly collecting materials. Spider that I handed in the materials I had on me and got back 150 points. That's how a lot of students earn points. Then, I went to the Imperial Exchange and sold the rest of my stuff for recycling. I didn't bother with consignment. The price difference wasn't worth the hassle. If you have this skill, you might as well do a couple of dungeons. Silver level gear is way more valuable than bronze level stuff. A few silver level weapons and armor, some bronze level gear, and some other random stuff. It came out to 430,000 gold coins. I was left with 610,000 gold coins and 135,000 points. 2 records broken. Not only did my points not go down, but they actually increased. I scoured the Imperial Exchange for the gear I wanted, but no luck. I ended up dropping 600,000 gold coins on 6 basic skill scrolls. 6. Probably not enough. To be safe, I headed back to the Academy Exchange. They also sell basic skill scrolls, but they're 800 points apiece at a ratio of 1 point to 100 gold coins. 800 points is only 80,000 gold coins, not enough to buy a single scroll. This highlights how much stronger points are and how valuable they are. It's not just about skill scrolls. It's true for other gear and items. I thought about it and bought another 10 basic skill scrolls, spending 8,000 points. 16 should be enough. After buying the scrolls, I checked out the other items. Some gear isn't available in the Imperial Exchange, like this silver-ranked weapon I saw. The spiritual sword wasn't from a dungeon, but was forged by a blacksmith named Zhang Tai. Blacksmiths are an auxiliary profession that can craft the weapons and armor other classes need. Spiritual longsword, silver level, spirit plus 400, available at level 20. Manufacturer, Wang Zhao Zhang Tai. Introduction, part of the spiritual 3-piece suit. No skill bonus, just 400 spirit, compared to other silver level weapons, like a top-tier silver staff that increases spirit by 200 and boosts mage skills by 15%. That is going to be more practical than this spirit sword. For most mages, this is not a solid choice. Among silver-level weapons, the spiritual long sword is an oddity unless you're a special mage support like a prophet who needs tons of mental power to cast skills. You might choose a weird weapon like this, but I love that it has a mental power attribute that's been cranked up to the max. I've already got 1300 spirit, and with the 400 boost, I'll be at 1700. It takes 500 spirit to summon a skeleton warrior. I could only summon 2 skeleton warriors at a time before, but with this sword, I can summon 1 more. Plus, the higher my spirit, the faster my meditation recovery and the more efficient it becomes. Most importantly, the power of my soul flame scales with my spirit. Increasing spirit is like buffing my skills in disguise. For me, that's way more useful than any other silver weapon. The spirit sword costs 3,000 points, which is slightly higher than other silver level weapons, but not by much. I didn't hesitate before buying it. Chapter 84. People are stupid and have a lot of money. New magical skills. You are listening at novelfull.audio. An exquisite, silver-white long sword appeared in his hand, instantly boosting his mental power to 1700. Lin Moyu felt a surge of energy flowing from the sword into his body. Holding this and using Soul Flame will seriously amp its power. 2 minutes, gone. 10,000 points, spent. He had 125,000 points left. Seemed like a lot, but it wouldn't last. Those gold-level weapons and equipment cost tens of thousands of points. He could only afford one. 1700 mental power wasn't enough. Lin Moyu searched for armor. Huh. What's this? That he spotted a mage armor piece called the Spirit Robe, silver level, plus 200 mental power, usable above level 20. Manufacturer, Zhang Tai. Part of the Spirit set, same maker, same name. same focus on mental power. None of that was a surprise. What caught Lin Moyu's eye was the description, part of the spirit set. This is a set piece. Lin Moyu was a little surprised. In high school, during weapon and equipment basics, he'd learned about sets. Sets were incredibly rare. Collect them all, and you get extra bonuses. The spirit robe cost 2,000 points, slightly cheaper than the weapon, but pricier than other silver armor. Lin Moyu bought it without hesitation. He wasn't sweating the points too much right now. Better to have it and not need it, than need it and not have it. With a thought, the spirit robe materialized, replacing his knowledge robe. His mental power jumped to 1900. He checked his stats, but the set bonus hadn't activated yet. One piece of the spirit set was still missing. He opened the exchange again and began searching. The exchange had a search function. Following his hunch, he quickly found the matching item, spirit ring, silver level, plus 200 mental power, usable above level 20, manufacturer, Zhang Tai, part of the spirit set, priced at 5,000 points. Steep. Way more expensive than other silver jewelry. Lin Moyu didn't care. He had to complete the set. He didn't think twice before buying it and equipping it. As soon as the set was complete, Lin Moyu emitted a faint silver glow, catching the attention of others in the exchange. That's the set aura. Someone completed a set. Silver light. Must be a silver level set. What silver sets are there? Never heard of them. You're forgetting that handcrafted set. You mean the one that only boosts mental power? That's been sitting in the exchange for 2 years. No way. Someone actually bought that set. It's not that they're stupid, they just have money to burn. Everyone looked at Lin Moyu like he was an idiot, spending 10,000 points on a silver set with no skill bonuses. What a waste. What good was high mental power? A better skill bonus that increased attack power would be way more useful. Most mage skills barely even used mental power. They didn't get Lin Moyu, and he didn't need them to. Equipping the spirit ring pushed his mental power to 2100, way higher than his other stats. Then, finally, the set bonus activated. The spirit set added another 800 points of mental power. The sword, robe, and ring now granted a total of 1,600 extra mental power. His mental power hit 2,900. Totally worth it. Lin Moyu thought the 10,000 points were well spent. He left the trading center under the weird stares of everyone. He didn't say a word, but as he left, a trace of satisfaction and joy flickered across his face. What a weirdo. Spending so many points on a set that just boosts mental power, and he's happy about it. Maybe he thinks it looks cool. I saw his robe and long sword. They do look pretty sweet. What good are looks? We need power. Can good looks take down a boss? I wish I had that much dough. 10,000 points, my golden weapon is almost that expensive. Lin Moyu headed straight to the skill training hall after leaving the exchange. The school had a dedicated hall for skill training, arranged by formation masters. Not only did it speed up skill practice, but supposedly it also increased the chances of awakening new skills. Whether that was true or not was debatable, but plenty of people chose to use their skill scrolls there. Lin Moyu figured it was better to be safe than sorry. The training hall was divided into junior, intermediate, and advanced levels. Like dungeons, levels and points were required. Lin Moyu was only level 20 and could only use the primary hall. 1 hour of training cost 100 points. He now understood why students trained skills outside despite the training hall. 100 points an hour was a bit much, and that was just the primary hall. The intermediate hall cost 1,000 points per hour, and the advanced hall cost 10,000. Ning Yi had mentioned there were even better, top-tier training halls, but they weren't open to the public. Lin Moyu paid his points and entered the hall. It was an independent space, about 30 meters long and wide, enough room to practice. Some training equipment was scattered around. Standing inside, Lin Moyu felt a different energy. He summoned a skeleton warrior, which now cost 500 mental power after the upgrade. The exchange had only restored a little bit of his mental power. Recovery was slow, but here, even without meditating, his mental power was recovering as fast as if he were. Meditating in the hall would speed it up even further. He wouldn't have to worry about running out of mental power while practicing. Practice would be much faster. If I summon skeleton warriors here and meditate to recover, I could have a whole army in no time. That it was a good idea, but now wasn't the time to summon. Lin Moyu took out a primary skill scroll and activated it. The scroll transformed into a ball of light and enveloped him, shining brightly. After a moment, the light dissipated, nothing happened, no new skill. Primary skill scroll failed. Skill awakening wasn't going to be easy. Ning Yi had told him about some unlucky guy who used 300 primary skill scrolls to awaken all skills under rank 2 at level 30. Lin Moyu hoped he wouldn't be that unlucky. He activated another scroll. The ball of light reappeared. Lin Moyu could see it was composed of thousands of tiny points of light, like stars. Beautiful, he remembered stargazing with his sister on the roof, making wishes on shooting stars. Grandma would bring them snacks and fruit, good times. He cherished them. Suddenly, one of the stars lit up, it became a beam of light and entered his body. Acquired skill, skeleton armor. Skeleton armor, level 1 summon bones to form armor, providing 100 points of physical defense, lasting 5 minutes. Can be used on others. Necromancer was a type of mage. Though it didn't have a direct effect on his mage-type gear bonuses, mages did share certain commonalities. Mages had shield abilities. Necromancers, too. Here came the bone armor. 100 points of physique converted to defense didn't sound like much, but with the overall boost, that defense was multiplied by 30, 3,000 points of physical defense. He was practically a humanoid boss against other level 20 classes. Lin Moyu could confidently say, "Hit me all you want, you can't kill me." And this skill could be used on others. Unlike mages who could only buff themselves, his team's survivability just skyrocketed. This skill made up for his own weak defense. Lin Moyu raised his palm and pressed down. A soft sound echoed in the training hall. A dark wind materialized and surrounded him. Quickly, a layer of white, bony armor covered his body. Spooky, but kind of cool. With the armor on, Lin Moyu moved around a bit. His movement wasn't restricted at all. The armor was as light as air. If he didn't look, he wouldn't even feel it. After a bit of testing, Lin Moyu smiled. Another useful and powerful skill. He activated another skill scroll. Chapter 85 Skeleton Mage, Elemental Resistance. You are listening at novelfull.audio. The light faded. After a moment. No new skills popped up. Lin Moyu wasn't bummed. He was already stoked about getting the magic skill. The more skills he had, the faster the skill scroll failure rate would climb. Eventually, you might fail multiple times before catching a break. He went back to activating skill scrolls. Fail. 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 Strike after strike. He came up short. Lin Moyu, unflappable, kept at it. Even if he bricked every single attempt after this, the bone armor skill alone made it all worth it. He failed 7 times in a row. The 10th skill scroll, just like before, Lin Moyu got bathed in light. A few seconds later, a whole new kind of show started playing out in his head. Fire blazed. Rain fell like ice. Wind howled. Lightning crackled. These 4 elemental scenes flipped back and forth. Lin Moyu, usually so calm, got a serious jolt of excitement. This meant new skills. And it looked like they were elemental skills. Acquired skill, Summon Skeleton Mage. Summon Skeleton Mage, level 1 summons a black iron skeleton mage. No need for a drawn-out explanation. Since the skill was only level 1, it could only summon black iron level mages. A little black hole opened up near Lin Moyu, and a skeleton mage shambled out. Summoning the skeleton mage ate up 50 mental power points. That was a bigger drain than summoning skeleton warriors. A level 1 skeleton warrior only needed 10 points. This black iron level skeleton mage was beat to hell. Next to the silver level skeleton warriors, it was a total train wreck. Its bones were riddled with cracks, and it wobbled like it was about to fall apart. No weapons, just flames dancing in its skeletal hands. This was a fire-type skeleton mage. Lin Moyu pulled up the skeletal mage's stats. Black iron skeleton mage. Strength, 300. Agility, 300. Spirit, 900. Constitution, 300. Skill, Burst Flame. Burst Flame, deals fire elemental damage to the target, scaling with the user's spirit. Thanks to his all-around buff talent, all its stats got a 30x boost. Its base strength, agility, and constitution were all 10 points, spirit was 30 points, Lin Moyu was pretty happy with that. The skeleton mage's strength, agility, and constitution weren't great, a little worse than a level 1 player, but its spirit hit 30 points and its skill power depended on that spirit. Lin Moyu got it. The skeleton mage was artillery, the skeleton warriors were the front line, and these mages would blast from the back. If he could just keep leveling up these skills, they'd pack a real punch. His job now was simple: grind skills to level them up and make the skeleton mage a real powerhouse. The light flared again, then died out after 10 seconds. Lin Moyu kept chugging through scrolls, more back-to-back failures, but with his past experience, Lin Moyu knew this was par for the course, no sweat. He could just buy a few dozen more later. Finally, when he popped his last scroll, Lin Moyu saw another new visual. Skills always came with a preview, like the trailer for a movie. This trailer was all sorts of colors. Lin Moyu couldn't make heads or tails of it, didn't matter if he got it or not, as long as he snagged the skill. Acquired skill, elemental resistance. Elemental resistance, level 1 passive skill, increases elemental attack resistance for self and summoned units by 10%. Whoa, a passive skill, 10% damage reduction, which after his talent boost became 300% resistance to elemental attacks, meaning all elemental attacks against him would be 3x weaker. That was a major boost to his survivability. The skeleton warriors might have high constitution, but boss elemental attacks could still do some serious damage. Now, with elemental resistance, they'd be way tougher against those attacks. Every necromancer skill seemed clutch, no useless fluff. He glanced at the time, and realized he'd been in the skill training hall for a solid half hour. Time flew in here. He decided to summon 4 more skeleton warriors, just like that, pushing his skeleton warrior count to 125, then he dismissed the skeleton mage. Lin Moyu could store his summons in a summoning space, so they existed permanently. He could also dismiss them at any time, basically destroying the skeleton mage. But hey, Lin Moyu needed to keep grinding skills, so he had to do what he had to do: summon, dismiss. His spirit was tanking fast. Lin Moyu took a break to meditate. He figured, in this skill training room, I should recover my mental power pretty quickly, and he was right. He could feel his mental strength filling back up, almost addictively. An hour later, Lin Moyu had recovered over half his mental strength, without skipping a beat. He dropped some credits for another 3 hours. When his mental power was full again, the skill grind would continue. Skeleton mages kept appearing and disappearing. When his spirit tapped out, he'd meditate again. He repeated this process, no breaks. Skill grinding was seriously addictive. Lin Moyu realized, after repeated practice, the summoned skeleton mage finally hit level 2, Black Iron Skeleton Mage. Strength, 600. Agility, 600. Spirit, 1800. Constitution, 600. Still black iron grade, still looked trashed, couldn't hold a candle to the skeleton warriors, but no big deal if it was a dud. Time to take a break again. Lin Moyu had been grinding skills all afternoon, for hours straight. Meditate, practice skills, fun, but his brain was starting to feel fried, like playing a dungeon all day long. Lin Moyu left the skill training room and hit up Bai Yuan on his communicator. The call connected, and Bai Yuan's booming voice filled his ears. What's up? Master Bai Shen, I'm level 20, Lin Moyu said flatly. Bai Yuan, mid-sip of tea, gave him a weird look, a little surprised. Level 20. Lin Moyu calmly confirmed, yup. Bai Yuan paused. Head over to the Academic Affairs office. I'll meet you there. Alright. After ending the call, Lin Yu went to the Academic Affairs office. In the hidden space, Meng Anwen couldn't help chuckling. Who ding 20. Bai Yuan waved it off. Who else? Lin Moyu. Meng Anwen didn't seem shocked. Figures. Yeah, but it's normal in a holy crap kind of way. Dude was only level 17 last night, and now he's 20. That's a fast burn. Meng Anwen looked a bit surprised. Damn, that's quick. Guess he's putting in work. Bai Yuan suddenly burst out laughing. I got it. This dude's just farming the nightmare level dungeon. No other way he could level this fast. Remembering Lin Moyu's performance on Mermaid Island, Bai Yuan figured he definitely had what it took to solo a nightmare dungeon. Just then, someone else walked in, looking serious. "We got a weird one." Bai Yuan turned and grinned. "Old man Ning. I thought you were glued to the dungeon hall. What brings you here?" Ning Tyrant's voice was serious. "Something weird happened in the dungeon hall. Some kid keeps breaking dungeon records. People are already arguing over it, almost came to blows. They're saying you gave him some treasure that let him break those records." Bai Yuan raised an eyebrow. "A treasure? News to me. So who's making waves?" He slid a cup of tea over to Ning Tyrant. "Relax, drink up and tell me slow. It's just a kid, can't be that bad." Seeing Bai Yuan, Meng Anwen figured this guy probably already knew the whole story. Ning Tyrant took a sip of tea. "A student named Lin Moyu showed up yesterday at level 17. He's been blasting through the variation forest and the spider nest. All his records." Ning Tyrant flashed Lin Moyu's times, variation forest, 24 minutes and 32 seconds, spider den, 22 minutes and 51 seconds, Bai Yuan and Meng Anwen exchanged a look. Those times were insane. Even they were a little stunned. Meng Anwen laughed. "Hey, old Bai, could you pull that off back in your day?" Bai Yuan was honest. "Hell no. I could handle normal difficulty, sure, but nightmare? I'd be dead in the water. I can't even wrap my head around those times. How did he do it?" Alright, I'm out. That dude's probably waiting for me at the Academic Affairs office." With that, Bai Yuan poofed out of the room. Ning Tyrant looked confused. "What's his hurry?" Meng Anwen grinned. "Gotta go find this Lin Moyu." "Forget him, let's drink tea." Ning Tyrant added, "Perfect, I actually wanted to pick your brain about something." Meng Anwen looked surprised. "Oh. Ring me up." In the Academic Affairs office, Lin Moyu greeted Bai Yuan. "Master Baishan, what mission is it?" Straight to the point, no BS, Bai Yuan took in Lin Moyu, confirmed he was already level 20, that leveling speed was unreal, way faster than he'd been. Thinking back to his own grind, Bai Yuan couldn't help but think, those siblings are both monsters. Lin Mohan hit level 30 in 3 months and was already a rocket in the Creation Theology Academy. His younger brother was even scarier. At this rate, he'd hit level 30 in less than 2 months. The mission's easy. Just go grab 3 things from. Chapter 86, White God's Mission, Tyrant's Heart. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Bai Yuan sat there, a smile playing on his lips, but his presence still commanded respect. Years in a powerful position did that to a person. Most people would feel intimidated in his presence, but Lin Moyu remained unfazed, focused on his own goals. Bai Yuan didn't stand on ceremony. "You've been to the dungeon hall, so you know about the Tyrant Desert Dungeon, right?" Lin Moyu nodded. "Yeah. Your task is to head into the Tyrant Desert and retrieve the Tyrant's heart. That's it. The Tyrant Desert was a level 25 large-scale dungeon, allowing parties of up to 40 players with levels 20 to 30. It was bound to be swarming with strong monsters, but for him, the more the merrier. Thanks to his corpse burst skill, a horde of monsters just meant more experience points. Bai Yuan chuckled. "Think it's too easy?" Lin Moyu almost blurted out, "Yeah. The Tyrant's heart isn't exactly a walk in the park. The reason the Tyrant Desert is a large-scale dungeon, designed for 40-player raids, is because it's challenging. While it's technically level 25, it's tougher than other dungeons of the same level." He paused there, letting Lin Moyu connect the dots. Lin Moyu understood the underlying message. What Bai Yuan didn't know was that he was already planning on going to the Tyrant Desert anyway. Bai Yuan tapped the table, the sound rhythmic and measured. "Bring me the Tyrant's heart in 3 days, and I'll get you a cooling talisman." "Got it," Lin Moyu replied. Before he had access to the dungeon hall, he would have had a real need for a cooling talisman. Now, he could just spend a few points to skip the cooldown, so it didn't seem as vital. Bai Yuan noticed his expression and gave a knowing smile. Think the cooling talisman is useless because you have the dungeon hall? Let me tell you, it's a lot more useful than that. The dungeon hall has a lot of dungeons, but it doesn't have the best ones, the top-tier dungeons. You'll run into those eventually, and their cooldown times can be ridiculously long. Some of the best dungeons can have a month-long cooldown. That's where the cooling talisman comes in. Lin Moyu asked, but this is just a basic one. Bai Yuan laughed. Every high-level cooling talisman starts with a low-level one. Complete this task, and I'll not only give you the basic talisman, but I'll also tell you how to upgrade it. *O, so that's how it works. Lin Moyu hadn't expected that. Okay, I'll bring back the Tyrant's heart. He accepted the mission. Bai Yuan smiled. The school's holding its opening ceremony in 3 days. All the incoming students from your class will be there, so make sure you attend. Don't miss it. Understood. When Bai Yuan returned, Meng Anwen was still sipping tea, gazing out the window. So? Are you satisfied? Meng Anwen poured another cup of tea for him. Bai Yuan grinned. More and more. That kid has a good head on his shoulders. He's just my type. I sent him to the Tyrant Desert for the Tyrant's heart, gave him 3 days. Oh. Meng Anwen asked. That's not easy, getting that many people together. He doesn't strike me as someone who'd team up. He'll probably go solo. Solo a large-scale dungeon. Meng Anwen's lips twitched. You used to do that. Bai Yuan laughed. Let's not dwell on my past glories. Meng Anwen shook his head. If I recall, you went in at level 30 and came out with your tail between your legs. Bai Yuan's smile vanished. He quickly took a large gulp of tea to hide his embarrassment. Like I said, a good man doesn't bring up old history. The entrance to the dungeon hall was as bustling as ever. Lin Moyu's arrival immediately drew attention. He was practically a celebrity these days. Despite his relatively low level, he'd broken records 2 days in a row, with ridiculous results. Of course he was famous. Lin Moyu's here. He's going to run another dungeon. Think he'll break another record? I wonder which dungeon he's going to tackle. Lin Moyu headed to the task center in the middle of the hall. He began browsing the quests, finding several related to the Tyrant Desert. If he found anything worthwhile inside, he could exchange it for points. Then, he saw a quest specifically for the Tyrant's heart, offering 100,000 points. That was a huge price, surprisingly high. It was just a level 25 dungeon, even if it was a large-scale one. Could the loot inside really be worth 100,000 points? That was enough to buy almost platinum-level gear. Considering Bai Yuan also wanted the Tyrant's heart, Lin Moyu figured it must be something special. Hey Moyu, you heading into a dungeon? He looked up and saw Shu Han standing next to him, smiling. Lin Moyu had been wondering about something. Senior, do you know anything about the Tyrant's heart? Sure do. Shu Han responded immediately. Then, she elaborated. The Tyrant's heart is a material dropped by the final boss in the Tyrant Desert dungeon. Alchemists can use it as the primary component to craft boss jewelry, the Tyrant's necklace. So, it was the same type of special material as the Goblin King used to make boss jewelry. Boss jewelry was unique, offering stats you couldn't find on regular jewelry. For example, the Goblin King's ring boosted all skills by 1 level, regardless of class. Lin Moyu wasn't sure if it would be useful to him, but that didn't diminish its value. Shu Han continued, the Tyrant's necklace is pretty awesome, but its main ingredient, the Tyrant's heart, is ridiculously difficult to obtain. The Tyrant Desert dungeon is a large-scale dungeon with no difficulty settings, so the monsters inside are tougher than nightmare-level dungeons of the same level. The boss is a world-class boss, super hard to beat. Even a full party of level 40s would find it time-consuming, risky, and difficult. And the Tyrant's heart only drops once a year. It's been 2 years since the last one dropped. Lin Moyu figured that even if it was super difficult, surely someone would have managed to kill the boss by now. Why hadn't anyone gotten the Tyrant's heart? Curious, Lin Moyu asked, why not? Shu Han chuckled. Lin Moyu didn't talk much, so she wanted to coax him into saying more. This student, 2 years younger than her, seemed like a fun person to be around, like a little brother. Shu Han raised 2 fingers. 2 reasons. 1. The fewer people in the Tyrant Desert dungeon, the higher the chance of the Tyrant's heart dropping. The number is counted from when you enter the dungeon. Quitting halfway doesn't count. 2. The faster you kill the boss, the higher the chance of it dropping. Hearing that, Lin Moyu finally understood. In other words, the quest in the task center offering 100,000 points for the Tyrant's heart was a steal. And Bai Yuan wanted it too. Even if he didn't, now that Lin Moyu knew its value, there was no way he was selling it. Boss jewelry, huh? Maybe he'd like it for himself. Thanks, Lin Moyu said sincerely. Most people wouldn't bother explaining so much, Shu Han giggled. You're welcome. But, I heard some academy is planning a raid on the Tyrant Desert soon. You want to team up with them? Lin Moyu shook his head. No teams. I'm going solo. *wow star. Shu Han covered her mouth in surprise. She thought Lin Moyu would join a team, but he was going solo. She'd heard of soloing regular dungeons, but never large-scale ones. That was practically impossible, it had never happened before. Junior, don't push yourself too hard, Shu Han said, concerned. Lin Moyu chuckled and walked towards the Tyrant Desert dungeon. The entrance to a large-scale dungeon was much bigger than a regular one, very distinctive. Looking up, he saw records displayed on a light curtain above the entrance. The record had been set 4 years ago. Flying Dragon Academy, 40 players, 16 hours, 45 minutes, 18 seconds. The Flying Dragon Academy, like the Qianlong Academy, was one of the top colleges within the school. There were 6 such colleges. The hierarchy was clear: regular university students, independent college/department students, and top college/department students. Just like unspoken rules, the students were ranked as well. Before the Lingzhen incident, there was almost a fight between the regular students and the college students. There was also competition within the institution itself. Shu Han looked worried. Moyu, are you really sure you want to go solo? Lin Moyu nodded. Just as he was about to enter, a haughty voice called out from behind. Out of the way. Chapter 87. If he succeeds, he will make history. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Lin Moyu, quick on the draw, yanked Shu Han out of the way just as a heavily armored knight stormed up, looking like he wanted a fight. Without Lin Moyu's reflexes, Shu Han would have been toast. A whole posse trailed behind the knight, a huge guy, easily 6'6", who radiated intimidation. He squinted at Lin Moyu, dripping with disdain, then puffed out his chest. We're from Bailey College, and we're here to crush the Tyrant Desert dungeon. We're setting a new record today. A chorus of voices roared in agreement. The Tyrant Desert record had been untouchable for 4 years, set by Fylong Academy. That alone showed how brutal this dungeon was. Shu Han whispered, there's been buzz that Bailey College was gonna take a crack at the Tyrant Desert. Word is they've prepped like crazy, even holding some of their top players back at level 30. Some of the older students have hooked them up with full sets of gold gear. Lin Moyu got it. A record wasn't just bragging rights, it meant points, contribution, and a serious boost to your reputation. Students would kill for that kind of prestige. Plus, it could be their ticket to a top-tier academy. The knight, acting as Bailey College's mouthpiece, loudly proclaimed their intention to conquer the Tyrant Desert and shatter Fylong Academy's 4-year-old record. Then, he glared down at Lin Moyu. Hey, kid, step aside. Lin Moyu stood his ground, not budging an inch. I was here first, he said flatly, not giving the guy the satisfaction. The knight frowned. You wanna run the dungeon with us? Sorry, we're on a mission. Maybe next time. Lin Moyu couldn't help but roll his eyes. This guy had a serious ego problem. When did he ever ask for a carry? Seeing Lin Moyu still planted in place, the knight scowled, feeling embarrassed and even more annoyed. He couldn't figure out why Lin Moyu was being such a pain. But with everyone in the dungeon hall watching, he couldn't exactly strong-arm him. Fine, have it your way. He barked, alright, everyone's ready. Let's head in. Just then, Lin Moyu said to Shu Han, I'm going in. Shu Han nodded. Go for it. Lin Moyu vanished, and the Tyrant desert vortex lit up, showing someone was inside. Lin Moyu had actually gone in. The knight's mouth twisted. That punk's just trying to stir things up. Going in solo. He's got a death wish. Suddenly, the dungeon hall buzzed with excitement. No way, he actually went in. Taking on the Tyrant desert solo. That's a boss move right there. I've never heard of anyone soloing a big dungeon. If he pulls this off, it's legendary. It's a long shot. Don't see it happening. I've been to the Tyrant desert. It's brutal, one wrong step and you're dead. Anyone else, yeah, impossible. But him? Who knows? The Bailey Academy knight and his crew were fuming. Their whole team was prepped to make history, and now everyone was focused on some lone wolf. He noticed Lin Moyu was still rocking silver gear. He had a full set of gold equipment. The guys felt a bit upstaged. The knight saw his momentum fading and knew he had to act fast. Let's go, team. He yelled, and the Bailey College students surged forward. Entering the dungeon, the knight glanced at the light curtain before disappearing. 16 hours, 45 minutes, 18 seconds, I'm breaking that record. The Tyrant Desert was a high-level dungeon, level 25. Entry cost 500 points. To skip the cooldown, 2,000 points. Repeated runs would be 2,500 points each, or 10,000 points for 4 runs. For the first time, Lin Moyu felt his 120,000 points might not last. So it turns out points were useless. Hope the reward for breaking the record is worth it. A blast of hot wind swept through, kicking up yellow sand. The scorching sun beat down from overhead. This place was brutal. Endless dunes blocked the horizon. Lin Moyu found himself in a basin surrounded by sand. Skeleton warriors appeared, 125 of them fanning out in all directions. The map came to mind. Lin Moyu climbed a dune and surveyed the endless desert. No sense of direction. The scorching sun would not move, and it could not point the direction at all. If the record is 16 hours, this dungeon is going to be massive. Just then, a skeleton warrior gave an alert. Enemy. A dead branch shot up from the sand and snagged a skeleton warrior, but the skeleton warrior's strength was 12,000, and he sliced through the branch with a single chop. Then a full-blown tree exploded from the sand, a 10-meter monster covered in dead branches, thrashing at the skeleton warriors. The skeleton warrior swung his blade, sending branches flying. In seconds, the tree was reduced to a dying trunk. Lin Moyu arrived. Just before the tree gave out, he scanned it. Desert Ghost Tree, Super Enhanced Elite Monster, level, 25, power, 5,000, agility, 1,000, spirit, 2,000, physique, 6,000, skill, death coil. Stats-wise, it was close to the upgraded skeleton warrior, even tougher than the python boss in the mermaid dungeon. This is a large-scale copy. Just a regular monster, and it's got the stats of a level 24 boss from the mermaid dungeon. If the skeleton warriors hadn't been upgraded, it would take a little bit of trouble to deal with them. Bronze-level skeleton warriors had an attribute of 6,200, it would naturally take some effort to deal with it. After getting a clear picture of the monster's stats, Lin Moyu started to understand the dungeon's challenge. Kill the level 25 Desert Ghost Tree, experience plus 300,000. Get Ghost Tree branches *5. Not only were the stats boss level, but so was the experience payout. Killing one alone only got 300,000 experience. the skeleton warriors were constantly running into more ghost trees. This desert area was infested with desert ghost trees. There were many of them, hidden beneath the sand, ambushing anyone who passed by. Skill, bone armor. Lin Moyu cast bone armor on himself. An armor of bone materialized around him, his eyes glowing white in the sun. He let the skeleton warriors scout in all directions. The black iron skeleton warriors' range was only 500 meters, it had reached 1,000 meters at the bronze level, now it was silver level, and the range had reached 2,000 meters. Lin Moyu followed the skeleton warriors' path, more and more of the terrain was revealed. The map in Lin Moyu's mind grew. An hour went by as Lin Moyu scouted further and further. Yellow sand. Aside from the yellow sand and the desert ghost trees, no other monsters had appeared. After probing for 2 hours, something finally popped up. Water was found. Lin Moyu hurried toward the location. From the dune, he saw an oasis. The waterway stretched into the distance. He recalled the skeleton warriors from the other sectors. The army of skeleton warriors was present. Then he moved toward the oasis. Where there are oases, there are dangers. Skeleton warriors lead the way. As the skeleton warriors moved to the edge of the oasis, there was a bang. The oasis turned to water. Then a large number of scorpion-like objects rushed out of the oasis. Lin Moyu didn't panic. He stayed on the sand dune. He scanned like a breeze. Oasis giant scorpion. Level 25. Power 4000. Agility 3000. Spirit 2000. Physique 6000. Skill poison needle. The scorpions were each 2 meters tall. There was a giant poisonous needle on the tail, petal-shaped, exuding a faint blue light in the sun. Hundreds of the scorpions rushed. The skeleton warrior was not afraid. Knife raised. Any other team would need to pick these monsters off. It was not as simple as it was for Lin Moyu. 10 skeleton warriors used their skills. Skill, crazy strike. With 3 times the attack power of its own strength attribute, it hits a violent blow. The broadsword glowed red. A scorpion screamed and was killed. Kill the 25th level Oasis giant scorpion. Experience plus 300,000. Get a sharp tail needle *3. 2 seconds later, other giant Oasis scorpions had already moved closer. Palm raised. Skill, corpse explosion. Chapter 88. The Holy Land of Skill Training. You are listening at novelfull.audio. There was a loud bang. Yellow sand filled the sky. The giant Oasis scorpion, engulfed in the sand, was sent flying. Its corpse tumbled through the air. Skill after skill detonated. Explosions rocked the area. A massive pit formed. Yellow sand rained down, burying the exploded remains of the Oasis scorpions. Tons of experience points flooded in. Lin stashed the materials in his inventory. His experience bar shot up. Each monster gave as much experience as thousands of little spiders back in the nest. Just one wave of these guys and his experience jumped by 8%. Sweet. Lin Moyu thought to himself, he hadn't expected to level up so quickly after hitting level 20. If he could keep blasting monsters like this, leveling would be a piece of cake. While everyone else was struggling, cautiously picking off monsters one by one, Lin Moyu was just mowing them down. The experience flowed like crazy. Along with a mountain of materials, in no time, he'd cleared all the monsters on the oasis's edge. Lin Moyu followed his skeleton warrior along the waterway. The waterway snaked into the distance, and Lin Moyu wasn't sure if it was the right way to go, but for now, it was his only option. Everywhere else was a sea of yellow sand, impossible to navigate. Giant Oasis scorpions were all over the banks of the waterway, their bodies buried in the sand, only their tails showing. From a distance, they looked like sharp thorns. As the skeleton warriors advanced, they cleared out the thorns, leaving nothing but corpses behind. At the same time, more skeleton warriors fanned out on either side. They moved in the same direction as Lin Moyu, cleaning up any monsters hidden in the desert. The numbers weren't huge, but every kill meant more experience. The Tyrant desert map was enormous. After more than an hour traveling along the waterway, a new sight appeared. A low mountain rose in the distance. Lin Moyu now understood why other teams were moving so slowly. First, they had to find the way, and second, they had to deal with these Oasis giant scorpions. Each one was tougher than a boss in other dungeons. For a normal 40-person team, just clearing this area would take forever. The waterway ended, disappearing into the ground. A few scattered cacti grew ahead. Hordes of ants crawled around them, not just any ants, each one was over a meter long, with huge mandibles. Their feet were covered in barbs like sharp knives. Desert larva, enhanced elite monster, level, 25. Power, 2500. Agility, 2000. Spirit, 1000. Constitution, 3000. Skill, none, weaker than the desert giant scorpion, but still an enhanced elite monster, on par with the monsters in a nightmare difficulty dungeon of the same level. And there were so many of them, and they were just larvae. Ants lived in massive colonies with a strict hierarchy and a clear division of labor. The larvae were the weakest. If even the larvae were enhanced elite monsters, what would the worker and soldier ants be like? Lin Moyu perked up, sensing a huge influx of experience points coming his way. The ants noticed his scouting. Several larvae raised their heads and stared at Lin Moyu. In the next second, they charged at him, screeching. They were fast, much faster than their 2000 agility suggested, but the skeleton warriors were faster. A few warriors stepped in front, raising their blades. 2 quick slashes, instant kills, no problem. The attribute gap was too great. With 12,000 points in power, the skeleton warriors were utterly dominant. The skeleton warriors continued their advance, taking out any larvae in sight. Killed level 25 desert larva, experience plus 50,000. Obtained ant fangs *3. Killed level 25 desert larva, experience plus 50,000. Obtained ant fangs *3. Experience point steadily poured in. He'd been in the dungeon for over 4 hours. His experience bar had reached 15%, but then the waves of monsters stopped, and it was all scattered encounters, so the efficiency took a hit. What's this? Lin Moyu walked over to a strange-looking cactus. Small fruits hung from it. The dark blue fruit looked like grapes and made his mouth water. He cast Detect. Desert fruit rapidly restores a large amount of mental power. Must be consumed within 5 minutes of picking. Cannot be stored. He heard a rustling sound. More larvae emerged from the ground, quickly surrounding him. Over 100 of them. They screeched angrily at Lin Moyu, warning him to stay away from the fruit. The skeleton warriors' swords were his reply. Lin Moyu looked ahead, where a mountain blocked their path. Steep cliffs made it impossible to climb. At the base of the mountain were several cave entrances. Ants were clustered around the entrances, ant holes. Lin Moyu realized this was an ant nest. If he wanted to cross the mountain, he'd have to go through the ant nest, but there were 5 entrances, and he had no idea which one was the right way. He split his 50 skeleton warriors into 5 groups and sent them to different caves. Lin Moyu picked a desert fruit and ate it. It wasn't sour like he expected, but a little sweet. It tasted great. The flavor and texture were similar to grapes. His mental power had been depleted by more than half. After eating the fruit, it began to recover rapidly. In less than a minute, he was almost back to full power. Lin Moyu was shocked. His total spiritual power was 2900. With his spirit boosting gear, it was at least double that of a mage of the same level. The desert fruit was amazing. It recovered his mental power 10 times faster than meditating in the skill training hall. He saw patches of those cacti, all covered with desert fruit. He made a decision. He summoned skeleton mages one by one. His almost full mental power was drained again. After running himself dry, Lin Moyu dismissed the summoned mages. The desert fruit's effect hadn't worn off yet, and his mental power was still rapidly recovering. After it had recovered somewhat, he started summoning skeleton mages again. When the fruit's effects wore off completely, he ate another one and waited. Skeleton mages kept appearing and disappearing. This was the perfect place for Lin Moyu to practice his skills. For this alone, the trip was worth it. He didn't have to worry about using up his mental power, so his skill training was lightning fast. While he was training, the skeleton warriors charged into the ant caves. The distance tracker locked on 2000 meters as a straight line distance, which wouldn't change due to the complex terrain. The ant caves were packed with ants. Killed level 25 desert larva, experience plus 100,000. Obtained ant fangs *3. Killed level 26 desert worker ant, experience plus 330,000. Obtained ant fangs *6. Soon after entering the caves, the skeleton Warriors encountered the worker ants. They were clearly super-enhanced elite monsters. And they were level 26, which meant even more experience. Lin Moyu left the skeleton warriors to fight and explore. He focused on training his skills. After summoning the skeleton mage hundreds of times, he finally reached level 3, but it was just the beginning. Lin Moyu couldn't get enough. He couldn't pass up this opportunity. This was a skill training paradise. Time flew by, and Lin Moyu kept summoning, never stopping. He devoured desert fruit after desert fruit, keeping his mental power in a constant state of rapid recovery. 10 minutes later, he leveled up his skill again. He was leveling up faster than he could have in the skill training hall. Meanwhile, the skeleton warriors were exploring the ant caves, slowly mapping them out. Lin Moyu's experience bar continued to climb. Reaching 17%, 3 hours later, Lin Moyu finally stopped. He'd eaten almost all the desert fruit, and he'd maxed out his skeleton mage summoning skill at level 20. He couldn't improve it any further. Lin Moyu checked the skeleton mage's attributes, and his eyes shone with satisfaction. Silver rank skeleton mage. Power, 6000. Agility, 6000. Spirit, 24,000. Constitution, 6000. Skill, Ice Storm. Ice Storm, creates an ice storm in a certain area, dealing ice elemental damage to the target. Attack power depends on mental power. He basically had a powerful ice mage at his command. A cold glow emanated from the skeleton mage's hands. Ice cubes appeared and dissipated. Accompanied by the sound of cracking ice, a 30-fold mental power increase meant a spirit score of 24,000. Lin Moyu could only imagine how much damage the skeleton mage could now inflict. An ice storm was an area of effect attack. Lin Moyu pointed in a direction and gave the order to use the skill. The skeleton mage clapped his hands together and shot a beam of light. Chapter 89 Silver Rank Skeleton Mage, Ant Cave. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Under Lin Moyu's stare, the air crackled with cold energy. Suddenly, it was a freezing downpour. Chunks of ice rained down. The scorching desert instantly turned into a frozen wasteland. The ice storm raged for a solid 10 seconds. It covered a radius of about 30 feet. Definitely a powerful group attack skill. 24,000 points of spiritual power, no joke. As a skill you can only master at level 20, it makes sense that the skeleton mage is tougher than the skeleton warrior. Both skeletons are useful, just in different ways. The downside of the skeleton mage, though, is the energy drain. Summoning a skeleton warrior costs only 500 mental power points, but a skeleton mage, that'll set you back 1500. Triple the cost. If he wasn't wearing the 3-piece spiritual suit, he wouldn't be able to summon a level 20 skeleton mage with just his natural 1300 spiritual power points. Then again, who actually masters a new skill to level 20 right when they hit level 20? Almost nobody. He glanced at the remaining desert fruits. Not many left. Most of them went towards leveling up the skeleton mage skill, especially after level 15, the consumption skyrocketed. He'd burn through a desert fruit every few summons. Man, if only I could take these out of the instance. Too bad you can't save the desert fruit, or take it out. Gotta eat it within 5 minutes of picking, or it's useless. Otherwise, Lin Moyu would farm these and bring out a ton. Can't let the rest go to waste. Gotta fill out the skeleton mage ranks. He had 130 skeleton warriors now. Out of the summoning space, 350 slots were occupied, leaving 14 open for a skeleton mage. While he still had some desert fruit, Lin Moyu planned to fill those spots. He ate a desert fruit, then summoned 5 skeleton warriors, bringing the total number of skeleton warriors to 130. Then, he focused on summoning skeleton mages. The attributes of the summoned skeleton mages were random, outside of Lin Moyu's control. Suddenly, a gust of eerie wind blew through, and the elements vibrated. Fire, wind, lightning. One by one, skeleton mages materialized next to Lin Moyu. Every element was represented, regardless of their elemental type. The core stats were the same. The difference came down to their skills. Fire skeleton mage, skill, burst flame. Burst flame, deals fire elemental damage to the target. Attack power scales with mental power. Ice skeleton mage, skill, ice storm. Ice storm, creates an ice storm in the target area, dealing ice elemental damage. Attack power scales with mental power. Wind Skeleton Mage, skill, Tornado Storm. Tornado Storm, creates a tornado in the target area, dealing wind elemental damage. Attack power scales with mental power. Lightning Skeleton Mage, skill, 5 Thunderbolts. 5 Thunderbolts, deals lightning damage to the target. Attack power scales with mental power. The Fire and Lightning Skeleton Mages were single-target attackers. The Ice and Wind Mages specialized in group attacks. Their silver-white bodies were a bit shorter than the Skeleton Warriors, but the soul fire in their skulls burned brighter. Raw elemental power swirled in their palms. Lin Moyu knew his Skeleton Mages could one-shot other mages of the same level. Once the desert fruit was gone, the long empty summoning space was finally full. 130 Skeleton Warriors and 70 Skeleton Mages, 200 skeletons formed his army. Lin Moyu felt like he could steamroll any dungeon of his level. Nightmare difficulty? A joke. Even hell difficulty wouldn't be a problem. He could solo dungeons that needed a 40-person raid. Like the Tyrant's desert, his skeleton army was way stronger than 40 regular players. Next time I come back, it's time to train other skills. He had more than one trick up his sleeve. Bone Armor and Slow Curse, for instance. As long as he had enough mental strength, those two skills wouldn't be hard to master. The toughest one was Corpse Explosion. Corpses were scarce. After a monster in the dungeon was killed, the body would disappear after a while, and he couldn't spam it. He needed to conserve some mental power for emergencies. He'd spent almost 4 hours practicing skills. It had been more than 8 hours since Lin Moyu first entered the instance. By now, he had a basic understanding of the ant cave's layout. The Skeleton Warriors had advanced almost a mile and a quarter, mapping out everything within that radius. Lin Moyu realized that all the entrances were connected inside, kind of like a spider's web. Ant caves were way bigger than spider webs, though. The mile and a quarter he explored was just a fraction of the whole thing. Lin Moyu entered the cave, shortening the distance and triggering the fighters to spring into action again. They darted through the cave, scouting the terrain. The ant cave twisted and turned endlessly, forming a complex and winding maze, like a massive labyrinth, with no exit in sight. Lin Moyu just picked a direction and kept going. Killed level 26 Desert Soldier Ant, experience plus 36,000. Obtained Ant Fangs *5. He suddenly got an interesting message. Soldier ants appeared somewhere in the cave. In ant colonies, worker ants are the laborers, and soldier ants are the fighters. The soldier ants protect the queen and keep her safe. Finding soldier ants meant the queen couldn't be far off. Lin Moyu immediately headed towards the soldier ants. The skeletons fell in behind him. More and more soldier ants appeared as he delved deeper into the cave. Lin Moyu stepped into an enormous cavern. A swarm of soldier ants were waking up inside, startled by his arrival. Hundreds of soldier ants stirred at once, shaking their bodies, hissing, and charging towards Lin Moyu. Soldier ant barracks. The word came to Lin Moyu's mind. Ants build nests. Soldier ants gather in groups. They must have barracks just for them. This had to be one, and there were probably more. The Skeleton Warriors charged forward first, followed by the Skeleton Mages. This was the Skeleton Mages' first real battle. Skill, Burst Flame. Skill, Ice Storm. Skill, Tornado Storm. Skill, 5 Thunderbolts. All 70 Skeleton Mages unleashed their skills simultaneously. Elements raged, and spells flew everywhere. The cavern echoed with roaring sounds, and filled with flashes of color. Lin Moyu was dazzled. By the time the Skeleton Warriors reached the soldier ants, a large number had already been killed or wounded. The 24,000 mental power points made the Skeleton Mages extremely lethal. Far beyond the damage output of similarly leveled players, even a level 30 player couldn't match a Skeleton Mage's damage. In less than a dozen seconds, hundreds of soldier ants lay dead. While not as quick as Corpse Explosion, it required less effort. Lin Moyu didn't even have to move. He just stood there and watched the light show. It was pretty spectacular. Not that it could compare to a Corpse Explosion. With the discovery of the soldier ant barracks, Lin Moyu knew he was on the right track. The team pressed forward, finding several more soldier ant barracks, each one bigger than the last. Experience points soared. He had reached 32% of the level up. The team pushed forward, encountering no resistance, and finally reached the depths of the ant cave. A buzzing sound filled The skeleton warriors rounded a corner and ran into a swarm of flying ants. Desert flying ant, super enhanced elite monster, level, 27, power, 6000, agility, 3000, spirit, 3000, physique, 7000. The skeleton warriors reacted fast, engaging the flying ants immediately, their superior stats shown, with 12,000 power. They could seriously wound the flying ants, almost killing them in a single blow. However, the flying ants struggled to damage the skeleton warriors. They were just too tough. The flying ants couldn't break their defenses. After a short fight, the swarm of flying ants was wiped out. Killed level 27 desert flying ants, experience plus 360,000. Obtained flying ant wings *2, Lin Moyu's eyes lit up. Flying ant wings were a quest item in the Tyrant's desert. Each wing was worth 5,000 gold coins. The flying ants confirmed it. Lin Moyu was definitely on the right track. Flying ants were essentially the queen's personal guard, never straying far, and their numbers were limited, nowhere near as many soldier ants and worker ants. The team continued on, running into more groups of flying ants. They didn't have barracks like the soldier ants. They moved in groups of 3. The skeleton warriors kept advancing, slaughtering the flying ants. Before he knew it, Lin Moyu had been walking through the ant cave for almost 2 hours, and finally reached the end. An enormous ant came into view. This ant was 30 feet tall, bloated, and bulky. 3 pairs of huge wings sprouted from its back, buzzing loudly as they fluttered. In front of it stood 4 other ants. These 4 were just as tall, almost 20 feet high, with wings, and the ability to fly. Their legs were like giant sickles. They looked terrifying. Is this the final boss of the instance? Lin Moyu wasn't sure. With some doubts, he used his detection skill. The skeleton warriors rushed forward. Chapter 90. It would be great if there were always so many monsters. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Desert Ant Queen, leader level monster, level 28, power 9000, agility 3000, spirit 8000, physique 8000, skills summon ant colony, sonic attack, storm blow, curl up. The detection spell revealed the Desert Queen's stats instantly. She wasn't a dungeon boss. The Tyrant Desert Dungeon's actual boss was supposed to be Tyrant, and he was a world-class boss. This Ant Queen was just a leader-level monster. Her stats weren't too impressive. The detection spell also hit the 4 giant ants simultaneously. Ant Queen's Guard, super enhanced elite monster, level 27, power 5000, agility 4000, spirit 3000. Physique 7000, skill carapace hardening. 4 guards for the queen, average strength, agility, and spirit but incredible physique, plus their skill. They were clearly meat shields. Their presence significantly increased the queen's security. Since the queen was the most important member of the entire colony, she had to be protected at all costs. Other teams would have trouble dealing with these 4 bodyguards. They would try to pick them off one by one, but their existence just meant easy experience for Lin Moyu. While he used the detection spell, the skeleton warrior had already charged. The Ant Queen's guards also rushed forward. The queen ant's wings vibrated, and she let out a piercing shriek. Skill, sonic attack. A horrible sound reverberated through the ant cave. The bone armor on Lin Moyu's body glowed silver white. Resisting the attack, all skeleton warriors and skeleton mages were hit. It was an indiscriminate area of effect attack with a huge range. Luckily, it wasn't super powerful, and Lin Moyu's bone armor blocked it. The skeleton warriors blocked it without breaking a sweat. With 12,000 physique, they could withstand most attacks. Focus fire on 1. At Lin Moyu's command, the skeleton warriors used their skills. The red light on their greatswords intensified. Skill, crazy strike. The skeleton mages behind him unleashed their skills too. Following Lin Moyu's order, they targeted the same queen ant guard. Fire, ice, tornadoes, lightning, it was a dazzling display. After a burst of light, the guard was instantly killed a level 27 Ant Queen's guard, experience plus 390,000. Received flying ant wings *10, Lin Moyu immediately raised his hand, skill, corpse burst. Boom! With a deafening explosion, the 3 remaining queen ant guards were sent flying. Hey! They're still alive. Lin Moyu was surprised the guard survived the corpse burst. That was 450% of the corpse's vitality as damage. No monster of the same level should have been able to withstand it. Looking closer, he saw a metallic sheen on the guards' bodies, like they were covered in armor. Skill, carapace hardening. Lin Moyu understood that the guards had used their skills to block the damage from the corpse burst. The skill must have a similar effect to a knight's ultimate defense, greatly increasing defense. Not bad, but let's see how long you can hold out. The skeleton warriors charged, moving as fast as lightning, and surrounded the guards as soon as they landed. The skeleton mages also unleashed their skills, attacking from all directions. The queen ants' 3 bodyguards were glowing with their skills, bodies as hard as iron, legs scything at the skeleton warriors. At the moment, it was difficult for the skeleton warriors to hurt them. The guards also couldn't inflict much damage on the skeleton warriors. The difference in stats was too great. With only 5,000 strength, they were no match for the skeleton warriors' 12,000 physique. They probably couldn't win one-on-one, let alone against 130 skeleton warriors and 70 skeleton mages. The odds were completely stacked against them. Massive attacks rained down on them, and the luster on their bodies quickly faded. Suddenly, the queen ant flapped her wings again. The huge wings generated a gust of wind. The strong wind swept in like a tornado. Skill, storm blow. The storm roared and swept forward. Many skeleton warriors were blown away, torn apart by the wind. The skeleton warriors were injured. Although the damage wasn't huge, it showed the queen ant's power. Lin Moyu knew he had the passive skill elemental resistance, which was amplified and elemental damage would be reduced by 3 times. Even so, the skeleton warriors were still hurt. Without that skill, the injuries would have been worse. Another player might have been killed instantly. Lin Moyu's expression changed, and he quickly stepped back, positioning himself behind the skeleton mage's skill, bone armor. He needed a new set of armor. The strong wind battered the skeleton mages, whose physique wasn't as high as the skeleton warriors. They were blown around. Luckily, the distance lessened the wind, and the skills weren't as powerful. The skeleton armor flashed, blocking the attack. Lin Moyu knew that his biggest weakness was still himself. Even with the skeleton armor, his defense was still the weakest. If he was seriously injured, the damage would be transferred to the skeleton, also severely injuring it. This damage was calculated based on his own defense, ignoring the skeleton's physical defense, so he needed to avoid injury as much as possible. The storm lasted for 20 seconds before stopping. The skeleton warriors hit the ground, then quickly got up and continued charging. They didn't feel pain, didn't know fear, and followed Lin Moyu's orders. They were the perfect fighters. The same was true for the skeleton mages, and various skills were being used. All of a sudden, fire, lightning, ice, and wind appeared once more. The queen ant guard's skill time ended, and their defense completely collapsed under the onslaught. With a scream, the ant queen's guard died. The skill light on the other 2 also disappeared. Lin Moyu didn't hesitate. Skill, corpse burst. Boom boom boom. The corpse exploded 3 times. The first explosion killed the other 2 queen ant guards and injured the queen. The second and third times, the queen ant couldn't escape. The queen ant shrieked, her wings torn off, her body covered in blood. These 3 blasts nearly killed her. Suddenly, the queen ant began to shrink, curling up. Skill, curl up. At the same time, a crystal clear film appeared on her body. The membrane had strong defensive power, and the skeleton warrior's greatsword couldn't penetrate it. Even the skeleton mage's attacks couldn't break through it. Another skill similar to extreme defense. Let's see how long you can last. All such skills had a time limit, and the stronger the attack, the shorter the duration. Skeleton warriors and mages kept attacking. All kinds of attacks fell on the queen ant. After the queen ants curled up, her screams never stopped. Screams resounded throughout the ant cave. After a while, Lin Moyu heard crawling. He turned his head and saw countless ants rushing from various tunnels. They were fast and frenzied. It was the queen's skill, summon ant colony. She was calling all the ants in the ant cave. Seeing this, Lin Moyu didn't panic. Instead, he smiled. Well, that's convenient. Lin Moyu rarely smiled, and when he did, good things usually happened. A dozen skeleton warriors attacking the queen suddenly disappeared and reappeared in front of Lin Moyu. They moved to intercept the ants. The skeleton mages also aimed at the ant colony. A round of concentrated fire instantly killed a mass of ants. Then came the continuous roar of explosions, corpse burst after corpse burst. Each hit gave tons of experience. No matter how many ants there were, they wouldn't be able to get through. His experience was going up like a rocket. Hearing the queen ant's call, it seemed all the ants were rushing over. Lin Moyu didn't know how many there were, but there were a lot. His experience showed him that, when he entered the ant cave, it was at 38%, and now it had reached 65% and was still going up. If he could keep bombarding them, his leveling speed would surpass everyone. Finally, the queen's skill ended. No more ants came. Lin Moyu secretly thought it was a shame. The experience had reached 78%, 40% higher than when he entered the cave. With the skill over, the queen stretched her body, and the injuries she just sustained had healed. Didn't expect there to be a therapeutic effect. With a wave of his hand, he ordered a full-force attack. The queen ant flapped her wings, slicing at the skeleton warrior like a blade. The skeleton warrior was knocked back, but the damage wasn't serious, and it ran back after bouncing around. The queen was seriously injured. The queen ant's skills seemed to be on cooldown, and she didn't use them anymore. The injuries on her body worsened, and the queen ant screamed in pain. 130 skeleton warriors, 70 skeleton mages, a fully saturated attack. After just 10 seconds, the queen ant crashed to the ground, killed the desert queen, experience plus 800,000, received silver level weapon, ant queen spear, received silver jewelry, queen ant ring, obtained desert queen ant eggs, obtained low-level monster crystal nucleus, queen ant spear, silver level weapon, strength plus 80, constitution plus 80. Gun type skills increased by 13% available after level 20. Queen ant ring, silver jewelry, spirit plus 50, constitution plus 50, mental recovery speed increased by 10%, available at level 20. Desert queen ant eggs. Desert queen ant eggs can be handed over to the beast master to hatch, and the queen ant can be obtained.